Alright, so Ashe FR will be coming with Ramu Spiritus. So Ashe FR is pretty generic as she is able to enchant the party with Thunder and Holy, so that makes it easier for the entire party to fulfill her condition. But sadly, the true enchant is only applicable on herself, which means if you are using any other characters with any other element like Rydia, water, Lulu, fire, they will not be able to fulfill her condition. Okay, so you are looking into building up a party with characters that doesn't have an element, but thankfully most of the DPS that we know, Tifa, Rinoa, Jack Garland, Sid Reigns, they do not have any elements associated with them. So they are definitely a great, forming a party with them and Ashe is pretty decent. Anyway, her FR also does provide Queen's Order buff, but just for one turn, so you can put it on an often character because compared to a HP plus Queen's Order, she does not manipulate turns, which means she will not be pulling the character forward. So if you have an often character as which is like 2 turns away, so right after Ashe you can enter let's say Sid Reigns BT, or you can enter Tifa's BT, so you know your often damager like Yang or like Core, they will be able to do true damage of 10% based on their HP damage limit. So which means if you have a HP damage limit of up to 200,000, then you will be doing additional of 20,000 damage. But sadly, true damage does not scale with FR, so they are not affected by HP damage bonus, and that kind of make it less significant during a FR phase. So apart from her condition for Thunder and Holy, she have a third condition, which is the active character or the character that is taking the turn, they need to have at least 4 active buff. So the good thing is that her HP plus Queen Order does provide the party with 2 generic buff, and most of the character will come with 1 or 2 frame buff. So in that situation, it is not that difficult to achieve. And if you do have problem with that, you can always use a call like Warrior of Light or Hope, because Hope gives 2 frame buff while Warrior of Light gives 1, and that should be able to allow you to fulfill the condition of having 4 active buff. So I just want to make a comparison with Penelo, because we just get Penelo. Penelo FR is extremely generic, and if you compare to Ashe FR, Penelo generates up to 70%, but Ashe only generates up to 60%. So if you use S1 or S2 and having all your character boosted, you will be seeing up to 70%. But that is nothing comparable to what Penelo can do, because Penelo, not only that it is generic, it also allows for supercharging, and it stands subjected and open up to more strategies. As what team that I would recommend to partner with Ashe, honestly, I do not really have one. She just work with any of the DPS, Ashe, Reigns, you can just put her with them. Or if you want to enter her own BT phase, that's okay too. With her BT now, she does pretty decent damage. Obviously not as high as the DPS, but it's significant enough to do, to consider that she is somewhat of a hybrid DPS support character. And probably this is why, to balance it out, she doesn't really have a HP damage bonus that is really high, so they just kept it at 60% in order to limit the damage that she can deal. Anyway, if you are putting into context, if you have let's say Tifa or something, and you take the entire 10 turns fulfilling Ashe condition, you are just looking up to about 753%. That is if you do not use any S1 or S2. If you use S1 and S2 per turn, it will increase by 5%. But if you use entirely out of S1 and S2, then you can go as high as 803%. But you can expect a much lower damage output, because we do know that EX and LD always hit harder than S1 or S2. Now, for her evaluation, first off, a generic FR is good, but at this point in time, we have better generic FR. Penelo, for example, and Penelo is able to generate higher percentage compared to Ashe. So I am sorry, but I could not give her a very high score, so it's just 1.5 over 5. That is, the 1.5 is pretty much because it is generic. Okay, for a base kit, I do give her a higher score, about 3 over 5. Ashe is a character where she kind of like do a little bit of everything, if you want to put it this way. She now have DPS, and she have auras. She paralyzed the enemy, so you can consider that she actually has disabling utilities. And now with her BT, she does stop the enemy from gaining Brave in any form. So it's like Setzer's Freeze. And this Setzer's Freeze is not on the enemy, but is associated with Ashe BT's effect. So, you can have a lot of condition, let the enemy take a lot of turn, and you'll be entirely safe because they can't really deal damage to you unless they have condition where their Brave cannot go lower than a certain value, which means if the enemy have max Brave floor, then Ashe cannot shut them down entirely, which is actually, that's what Ramos Spiritus does. The enemy actually have a max Brave floor. So Ashe will not be able to shut them down entirely, but it's good enough to ensure that the party don't die as long as you are able to heal back or defend from yourself from the HP damage that they do. But anyway, to me, it is really pretty solid for having an effect that stops the enemy from gaining Brave. So if you really want to use Ashe further down after Ramos Spiritus, I believe the whole reason, or the reason that I will be using her, is actually for her BT effect. So I would consider actually to enter the BT phase early, not after activating FR, but basically to get her BT effect up as long as possible. It's only 6 turns, so if you activate her BT phase and then you have a 6th turn, then during the 6th turn you activate your FR, and at the end of the 6th turn you can reactivate the BT effect or renew the effect by using her BT finisher. So in total you get about 11 turn of Brave gain and buff prevention. So another thing to note is her transform HP plus. That skills manipulates player's turn, so you can pull any player forward, and at the same time she charges their EX to max. And if you pair her well with characters like, let's say, Struggle, so you have Struggle use his EX, then Ashe pull him back and recharges EX, so he can continuously spam EX. So in this situation, like I say, you probably don't want to enter her BT phase after you activated her after you activated her FR. So you probably want to play more casually. The thing is that you don't have to worry too much that if you will die or the enemy will damage you, because you have Ashe BT effect up, and that prevents them from gaining Brave. So most fight doesn't have max Brave floor, so she'll be pretty good in that sense. And you want other characters to charge their EX, so which means you don't just want to hog all the turn to Ashe. So you want everyone to equally play a role in contributing damage, and Ashe damage is not really that bad if you consider like every time you come in turn you can use the LD, you can use EX, and then she will do the extra follow-up damage, so the entire phase will be pretty the entire FR phase will be able to deal pretty high damage. So I think that is the way to play her, but obviously you can also go into her BT phase. I just think that if you want to play a BT phase strategy, then you should use characters that is associated, like they are better suited for it, like Tifa or Renoir. So to me, Ashe is more of like, activate FR, don't go into BT phase, you can go into summon phase, and then just continuously spam skills and contributing damage, right? So good luck with your pool. I hope you'll be able to get Ashe FR or BT, but if you don't really have to invest too much into her, because we are also approaching Echo's era, and when people say that it is the end of the era, you don't have to pull for a single specific unit, I'm always against that idea, but if you are saying that you want to do that for Ashe, I think it's pretty justifiable. Personally, I won't be chasing after her kit. I might if her banner does come with a double BT banner and I do not have the other BT. I was thinking that it might be Gabran, but some are saying that it can be Rinoa. So if it's Gabran, I'll probably jam it because I'm always on, you know, the value. But if it's not, then I'll probably skip Ashe as well. Right? So again, good luck and thanks.